Welcome to Creepin' It Real. I'm Judah. I'd like to talk about the 2025 horror film known as Until Dawn. Right off the bat, I did not know that this was based off of a video game. Now, I started watching it, and then I was like, wait a minute, isn't there a video game? Now, I never played the video game myself, but I did watch my nephew play it several times, and I did know that the Wendigo was very heavy in the game. Like, it was a heavy part of the game. And in this movie, it was just a minor detail. I'm thinking that this movie is not going to be very similar to the game. So for fans of this game, you're probably going to be disappointed if you haven't seen this movie already. Man, I was so disappointed with the Resident Evil release with Mila Jovovich, that very first one. I was so frustrated with how they butchered the story, and I was furious, raging about why didn't they just stick with the storyline of the video game. And so I'm sure that hasn't changed much, and we're going to have a lot of people out there raging over the fact that they didn't stick to the perfect storyline of the video game. And I get that, but going into this and not having a full immersion into the game and definitely not being able to call myself a fan of the game, I'm going to have a slightly different perspective, though not entirely different from other people. So I'll go out there and I'll say that this was just an okay movie. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. This starts off following a group of very diverse friends. And they're getting together to follow the footprints of one of the friends' missing sister. They're like, she's been missing, and we're all going to support her and kind of follow along the path that we know that this missing sister took before she went missing. Oh, I did want to mention the diversity of this group didn't bother me. It didn't even stick out to me until a point in the movie, and I was like, oh, okay. This is an unneeded thing in this movie. I'll get to that later. My impression of this when I saw the trailer was Groundhog Day, but horror version. Like, that hasn't been done before, and it has. And they tried to even address this in the movie, but it doesn't really come off as funny or kind of self-aware because the other copies of Groundhog's Day that are horror also address it. So it almost falls flat. Like, we all know that this is a copy of Groundhog's Day or any other number of movies that are repeated days. That's just, there's no need to try to make yourself look like you're self-aware of it. I don't know. Maybe that's definitely, I'm accused of nitpicking. That would 100% be a nitpick that I don't even need to bring up. It was something they did. It happened. Who cares? We all know, whatever, let's move on. But even though seeing the trailer and thinking, oh, this is just going to be a horror Groundhog Day copy, there was a few scenes that I thought seemed interesting. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go pay to see this in the cinema. There's no way I'm paying $10 to see this. But wait till it comes to the library and pick it up for free. Heck yeah, I'll do that. Or maybe wait until it comes to one of my streaming services. I'll watch that. So that's what I did. I stopped at the library the other day. It was there. I grabbed it for free, went home, sat down. And I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed that time that I wasted. You know, it wasn't the greatest movie in the world, but I enjoyed some of it. I guess let's watch this trailer.
I'm looking for my sister. Does she look familiar to you?
This guy is actually played a character in the actual video game. So I think that's kind of funny that they used him. Or I guess it was supposed to be some kind of call out, you know, to the fan base and be like, look, an Easter egg. The guy that was actually in the video game is in the movie too.
She's gone missing.
I didn't say that. Do a lot of people go missing around here?
up the road. That's why people get into trouble.
There was a character in this.
Feels like we're the first people here in years.
Looks like it too.
Weird.
This Asian girl. I'll pause it when it gets to her.
That's my sister's signature. Oh, shit.
Oh, her. Well,
Guys, check it out.
What happened to these people?
her. There we go. This Asian girl supposedly has some psychic abilities. I thought this was a very unnecessary, and I felt it cheapened the movie in a way. She did not come off believable, and some of her friends they kind of just play along with her, oh, I'm picking up energy type of stuff. But then at halfway through the movie, this one that's very just like, okay, let's play along, came up to her and is like, I believe that you're a psychic now. And I was like, this whole point in the story was just stupid. She was a fine character just as herself. They didn't need to add this psychic that didn't move the story along in any way. And it didn't enhance her as a character either. It came off very just silly and unnecessary, maybe to play into a group of people out there that consider themselves spiritualist or something. I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. Didn't make sense. Also, just a moment ago in the trailer, they showed a guest book with people signing in their names. I did, in fact, appreciate the fact that since they're repeating the same day, and most people involved who have experienced this situation have signed this guest book at this hotel that they go to. Why this girl signed this guest book in the first place, since they weren't staying there, made 0 sense at all. But we're just going to ignore that for a second. So you can flip through the guest book, you can see who's been there before, and as the days repeat, their signature becomes more unhinged. And I did like that.
Where's my car?
Where's Megan?
I want to know, this is like the first encounter, this guy right here, that they have with this haunt or whatever you want to call it. And he appears to have like superpowers. He's some kind of like a Mike Myers kind of a thing. And he's super strong. Several people take hits at him. He gets stabbed. Nothing affects him. What I want to bring up, and it's not just this movie, so I don't want you to think I'm just picking on this movie. But imagine in several movies, you have a cat and mouse or hide and seek type of a situation where they're hiding. They know that they have to get the drop on the other person if they have any chance of survival to kill or entrap this person. And this is the thing. They are successful in hiding. The person that they need to trap or kill or whatever has fallen into the trap perfectly. They're not looking. Now it's the opportunity to run up behind them and stab them or bust a chair over their head or drop a cage on them or jump kick them in the face. But instead of quietly coming up behind them and stabbing them, or quietly walking up behind them and busting them over the head with the chair. Now, granted, if you're going to run and jump kick them, you're going to be running, so the footsteps is going to alert the person. But why in the world, you've been hiding, why in the world would you come out from your hiding spot, grab the chair, and then yell as you're running to hit them over the head, alerting them to the fact that you're coming? Why would you do that? And that's what happens in this movie. This dumb beta simp boy grabs a chair and goes, ah, running down the hallway and hits this dude over the head. But fully letting him know, oh, this isn't a surprise attack. I'm going to let you know that I'm running down the hall screaming, giving you plenty of time to turn around and react. Why? I have no idea, and this isn't the only movie that does that. Makes no sense to me.
What the fuck just happened? We all got fucking murdered. And now we're here again.
So the night is just gonna repeat itself.
I don't remember that happening last time.
This girl's photo right in the center. She's the one whose sister has gone missing. I don't know. Okay, so her sister has gone missing. This girl right here is her sister. Now, I'm just going to stop for a second since we have a photo of everybody, and hopefully you can see the mouse that's up here. So this dude right here is the boyfriend of this girl right here. And this dude right here is the ex-boyfriend of this girl right here. And this is, you know, the friend that has the psychic abilities. So they're all just following along with this girl to give her support as she's trying to get some closure on her missing sister. Now, in the first encounter with the haunt, this guy gets murdered immediately. You don't see it happen. This girl just walks in and sees this guy with a massive cleaver through his torso, and he falls in half. Then she goes running. She gets murdered. And these three are running and hiding. She hides behind a door. She hides in a closet. This guy hides behind another door, you know, and thinks it's smart, as I just mentioned, to grab a chair and go screaming down the hallway to hit the guy over the head. Obviously, he fails miserably. As this is happening, this girl grabs a knife and is staying hidden behind a doorway. The bad guy walks in. Oh, spoilers. Like, the bad guy walks in, is just kind of slowly surveying the room, then sees the closet, walks up to it, and just busts through the closet door. Doesn't even open up the door. He just busts through it, grabs this chick, and yanks her out. And he starts slamming her head before throwing her across the room. Like, you know, she weighs no more than a plushie. Then he starts slamming her head into the ground. This girl, as she's having her face slammed to the ground, looks up and sees this girl hiding behind the door with the knife. Okay? As this girl's repeatedly getting her face smashed into the floor, she just watches. This girl looks up and says, "Help." She just stands there watching this. Finally, this girl has been face smashed in the floor so much that she is dead. At this point that she's dead, then suddenly this girl decides to run up and stab the dude in the back. Now, this is important because she literally didn't do anything to help in the moment that it was needed. It was only after her friend is dead, then she decides to take action because she knows now it's her turn. Okay? Now, why am I bringing this up? Because they play it off like this girl, this boy, this girl, and this girl are all super best friends. Okay? And this guy's just tagging along. He's been dating this girl for only 3 months. And, you know, he was like, well, I like this chick and they're going to go do this thing. So I guess I'm going to tag along too. Now, this is where that DEI thing that I kind of was frustrated about plays into, where I didn't even think about the fact that the group was so diverse until this event occurred. And then I was like, oh, of course, the message. Can't forget the message. So as I just established, she watched her get murdered and didn't take any action until after she was dead, only to protect herself. Later on, after talking to that, some other revelations occur. They're talking to somebody who has more information. And he mentions, yeah, you can make it out, but one of you is going to have to die. Okay? This group of friends, close friends, is all like, no, we're making it all out alive. And this guy's like, we need to get as much information as possible because we don't know what's going on. So let's hear what this person has to say about us only being able to get out if somebody dies. And the rest of these friend groups are like, what, are you willing to die for us? Because we're not going to die. And he's like, no, I'm not necessarily saying I want to give up my life, but we need to get information. Okay, so here we go. Here's the turning point. White man bad. Obviously, white man bad. We can't escape the message that white men are pieces of shit and only look out for themselves. This devolves simply because he wanted information. And then this guy who is telling them stuff about like, you know, yeah, you can escape, but one of you has to die. He starts goading her on. And he's all like, I know where your sister's at. If you come into the forest, I'll let you see her. And this dude is like, you should probably go. The rest of them are like, you're insane. Why did you tell her to do that? You knew you were sending her to her death. You're so selfish. And he's like, I didn't think she would actually go. As he's saying this bitch over here, who's supposedly his girlfriend, gets a freaking pickaxe from behind and slams it through his chest. But we're all supposed to be like, well, he deserved it because he's white and he's a man. And he told this girl that she should probably go to the forest to find her sister. So he deserved to be murdered. And they paint this guy out to be a real massive piece of shit from this point on. Also, we never address the fact that this bitch is a murderer now. She literally tried murdering him. He didn't die right away. He gets taken out by some other baddie, but he can't move. He's bleeding out. And we're supposed to just be like, oh yeah, we should forgive her and we should forget that she's trying to murder this man simply because she's good friends with these three. What kind of shit is that? And we totally gloss over the fact that this girl stood there and did nothing as her friend repeatedly had her face smashed into the ground and only acted after she was dead. But white man is bad for wanting to get more information and suggesting that she should go to the forest to find her sister. Look, I know there's somebody out there who's going to be like, you're just pissed off. Go cry, white man. I get that. I get that you're thinking that, but the double standard that was shown there is absurd. Killing people is wrong. You can't justify it and whitewash it by be like, well, I'm a good friend to these people and you suggested that one of them die, so I'm going to kill you. That's not a good enough answer. Not to mention this girl just stood there while she was being murdered and did nothing. But, yep, white man bad. Give me your thoughts on that. Go ahead. Unload on me if you need to. It's a trope that has become tired. There always have to be bad people in movies. I get that. If you want there to be twist, somebody has to be the asshole. And I'm fine with it being white men because you know what? Some white men are assholes. Some white men are selfish. Some white men only think of themselves over everyone else. But you know what? So do lesbians. So do gay dudes. So do black people. So do Asians. We all suffer the human condition. We all suffer when facing our own demise. This is where, true integrity comes out. And a lot of us will never face these situations that will truly test who we are. We can take hypothetical questions all we want and be like, oh, if I had this situation, did you all see that nice spittle shoot out of my mouth right there? In the midst of me standing on my soapbox and preaching the virtues of white men. Oh, hallelujah. I embarrassed myself with the spittle coming out. None of us are faced with this. Most of us aren't. And we don't know how we actually will react in these kind of situations. That's all I'm saying. Let's get back to this trailer, and I'll get off my white man high horse. It's a white horse, by the way.
Holy shit. Every night, something new is trying to kill us.
What is that?
How many more deaths do you have in you?
Nobody's made it past 13 nights.
If we want to survive, we have to make it until dawn.
That was another spot right there. All spoilers once again. They have decided now, after understanding that they keep being murdered and reborn to relive the same day again, and hearing some kind of clue that said you either survive the night or become part of it, they have now locked themselves as a group into the bathroom. And they're trying to wait out the night. They're discussing the information they got from this crazy, what they call witch, that said survive the night or become part of it. Then this dude, this to me was so stupid. I'm like, why would you do this? This is so dumb. You are living in a situation where everything is here trying to murder you. Why would you do this? So one of the guys, white man bad, he gets up and he drinks some water from the sink. Earlier, they had tried to turn on the water and no water came on. So they were shocked that the water was working. He gets a cup, he drinks, and he asks if anybody else wants a drink of water. They're all like, yes, please. So they all drink this water. I'm like screaming inside, don't drink the water. Don't drink the water. What are you thinking? Don't drink the water. I'm not going to spoil it for you. But to me, this was one of the most humorous parts of the movie. But why? Why would you drink the water? Don't drink the water.
We have to make it until dawn.
What is that? He's getting up.
I'm just gonna grab it. Don't move.
Yeah. Oh, what? Is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
What? It's still in my face!
There you go. That was the trailer. For me, let's go back to a different movie called Cabin in the Woods. Now, Cabin in the Woods, from what I understand, has some kind of a cult following. That I don't understand. This felt very much like Cabin in the Woods. Except Cabin in the Woods was very frustrating to me because in that there was some kind of scenario where these kids in this cabin were going to be subjected to some kind of horror. And it was like a randomizer almost. For those of you who haven't seen Cabin in the Woods, once again, I'm going to spoil not only Cabin in the Woods, but Until Dawn. So they go in this cabin. There's some kind of randomizer that chooses what horror will befall them. And they show it's like controlled by some kind of global government. Okay. It's weird. It's like they have some kind of, I don't know. They have a deal with like evil. I don't even understand. So So there's like this warehouse of monsters or something, and they trigger this effect which chooses which monster they're going to encounter. Now they show this warehouse, and in this warehouse you see all these different like monsters or evils, and some of them are really cool looking. And as you're seeing these glimpses of them, I was like, oh, I want to see that, or I want to see that one. Oh, that one's cool too. I want to see that one. I want to see that one. And what does it land on? Murderous hillbillies. Murderous, deformed hillbillies. This is what we get. one of the most tropiest tropes there is within the slasher genre. Murderous hillbillies. Not to mention the secondhand insult. One of them was named Judah. I'm offended. Anyway, so by the time Cabin in the Woods ends, I felt disappointed because I was like, man, there was way cooler monsters in that monster warehouse I would have much rather seen. And not just these freaking deformed hillbillies. Until Dawn, essentially, of course, they do, in a way, do the deformed hillbilly shtick with the very first character, which is a Jason or Michael Myers ripoff, but also the crazy hillbilly type person. They at least each day a new evil or cause of death occurs, which gave me more. So I liked that every reoccurring day we got to see a new horror that they encountered. Of course, this freaking hillbilly Jason, Michael Myers wannabe happened to show up in almost every one of these things, which again, it's a tired trope. So I did enjoy that. I also mentioned that I liked how the names in the guest book degenerate as it goes on. They become more maddened. I liked that. The lighting was good until this whole double standard of the white guy for suggesting that we listen to more information, understand how to get out, was the bad dude versus the chick who just stood there and watched her friend get murdered, and did nothing about it. I didn't even care about the diverse casting because that's not something I'm concerned with. I don't care. So until that happened, it wasn't even a thing to me. The acting was just fine. Nothing special. There were certain aspects as each day went on. This is kind of based around a town that was built on a mine. It was like a mining town, and then some kind of accident happened, and there was a collapse, and the town sank into the dirt. As the horrors go on, more of the town begins to reappear. I thought that was kind of cool. I liked that. But this is just a run-of-the-mill kind of horror. It didn't really engage me. I didn't feel anything in particular for the characters. I felt all of them were just like whatever. The only one that you slightly, in my opinion, care for is the sister who wants to find her missing sister. And even then, I wasn't super invested in that storyline. It was all just a platter, to get them to this point of living out this Groundhog Day. The ending, I felt, was pretty lame. The water that I kind of talked about in the bathroom, where I didn't explain what happened, plays a part. And I feel that it's the way that it happened makes sense, but it also makes the main bad guy, the one who is control of everything, very stupid. And some of you might say, that's not true because he didn't see. No, what he was he was very absent, not thinking. And why would he put his cup that close to that water in the first place, knowing that could happen? He essentially set himself up for that to happen. So that was very stupid. It's like, if I don't want to get peed on, I'm not going to go stand next to some guy who's taking a piss. And then when I get peed on, be surprised. That makes no sense. I know that was a very weird analogy, but if you've watched the movie, you'd understand. If you know the dangers of this thing, you don't go stand by it. It was stupid and absurd. There is a happy ending. Of course, even that ends with a, oh, it don't know. There we have it. I want to know. Especially if you're a fan of the game and you like this movie, reach out to me and let me know how it is that you overcame the obstacles of that. And if you just enjoyed it on its own merit and weren't a fan, I still want to hear it. And again, I'm giving this a 5 out of 10. That's like an average movie. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think there are any 10s. So it was a good diversion of time. I'll never watch it again. I won't recommend it, but I want to know what you think. So please leave your comments. Also, thanks for watching. I appreciate it so much. I would like it if you could subscribe. That would help me tremendously. Also, if you would share and give this a thumbs up, and I fully support you in this, if you feel you need to give me a thumbs down, you go for it. But I would ask that if you give me a thumbs down, you at least leave a comment explaining why. I think it's kind of a lame thing to just do a drive-by thumbs down. That's a little goofy. And especially if it's just because you like the movie and I just think it's average. Come on. That's a silly reason to give me a thumbs down. If you don't like my face, that's a better reason to give me a thumbs down. Anyway, thanks again. I'm Judah. This has been Creepin' It Real. See you later.